We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. Jimmy, James, and Tom are back for more. Like Joey B, we're here for season 4 with Bengal guests and stories not heard before. There's Tony, Mark, and Jamie, as well as our charity, Hooday Nation, joining from far and wide. Every Tuesday night, the guys are back at it live. By the fans, for the fans, from day one, it's time to have some fun. We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. The Bengal boys stop by to drop the speed. Don't get your popcorn ready and take a seat. Season 4 will end with the Lombardi.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. Victory Tuesday, baby. 3-2. Guys, it felt good to get that win, and a very convincing win in Arizona. But tonight, we've got Cam Miller coming on here in a little about 8:15. We're going to kind of preview RiverFront Remembered, the Jungle. We're going to have David Fulcher on and Bob Johnson, who played in the very first game at RiverFront Stadium. We're going to talk about some of their memories of RiverFront. We're going to talk about the episode, the event next week with Cam Miller's premiere. But guys, what a hell of a weekend, man. A lot of fun in Arizona. A boatload of Bengal fans. If you weren't there, you probably heard Bengal fans on TV. But James, what a hell of a weekend, man. Bengals bring home that very convincing win this Sunday.
It was. And the most important thing, Craig survived. Didn't have to get an EKG or a visit to the stadium hospital. So that was positive. But, this is the first away one where we didn't have a large contingency of volunteers. So we just all pulled together. The front gate was crazy. We were stopping cars, checking passes, running wristbands, ticket vouchers. It was a team effort, and appreciate everybody that pitched in there at the front gate. I don't want to mention names because I'll probably forget somebody, but appreciate everyone's help. From the front gate to getting everything set up, getting everything tore down. So much work, but it was so great. Everybody that came through the gate was just so happy, so positive. Just loved the opportunity to party with 1,000+ Bengals fans from not only all over the country, but all over the world. And I think one thing we take it for granted, we see the Bengals play every other week, but you see so many fans that live far away that don't get that opportunity, and they're just so excited to be there and just see so many other Bengals fans. And thanks for coming out. So much fun. Obviously, we'll be back doing it this weekend. We'll talk about our big next away one, which will be Jacksonville in December. But thanks again for everybody that pitched in. And Tony, what's your thoughts on the 100-degree pregame and the game there in Arizona?
Yeah, so actually 100 degrees isn't that bad. It's still hot, don't get me wrong, but it was definitely a dry heat. Good tailgate. Everyone had a good time. Like you said, it was busy and fun, and seeing everyone come out and those that's never been had that experience to tailgate with us. It was really good to see those have that experience with us. Did a lot of good charity work as always. The game was a must win for us. We saw a lot of good things that we needed from Burrow. So it was a great weekend.
And Augie's right. Nobody cut their sleeves that I saw anyways, not even after 3 or 4 beers. Everybody was well behaved. We did have some Canadians there, but the one that's missing tonight was not there either. So
there were quite a few Canadians there. I was shocked. They were from Vancouver. They were from all over Canada. It was awesome to see. So
much fun. What about watching from home, Tom? I hear a lot of comments on how loud the cheers were. I remember walking in, and I forget what happened, and it sounded like we were at Paycor Stadium. It was so loud of people cheering for the Bengals. Did that come across on TV?
Oh, you could definitely hear you guys. It was just like the beginning of the game in Tennessee. Anytime something went right, you guys were coming through very loud and very clear. So well done to everybody that made the trip and to all the Bengal fans that are in the Southwest. But you definitely made yourselves known.
Yeah. So let's talk about that game, guys. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Obviously everybody wants to start with a Joe Burrow, but that dude was running and scrambling and evading pass rush. It was a different Joe Burrow in that pocket this past Sunday, Tom. And wouldn't you agree? He was extending plays, and that was a big difference in the game.
There was early in the game, as he is every week. My son was here, and you guys remember he scrambled just a little bit. Ended up the pass was incomplete, one of his rare incompletions. And I looked at my son Andrew, and I said, that might be the most valuable play of the day, because we know he can scramble, and he's been probably given the okay to start being himself again. But no, he was extending plays. He was doing everything. He was diagnosing the defense. Every audible was perfect. I believe Travion Williams is still on the team. I was definitely a little worried about that. I'd never seen a quarterback cut a guy on the field during the game, and I think it almost happened. But no, Travion's a good player and still with us. But no, I think not everything is fixed. Not everything is even close to being completely fixed. But it was a big step. It was great to see them play the way we know they can play. And I think the defense still has some steps to go, but hopefully we can get T. Higgins back, if not this week, right after the bye, and get at it and get right back into the thick of things. We're only a game out.
Yeah, and you just understand, no T. Higgins, and it was a concerted effort, man. A Bengals record, Carl Pickens, the receptions by Jamar Chase breaks Carl Pickens' records. They couldn't cover. Like you said, 7-11. He was open all day, but they were scheming and scheming to get that ball.
Yep.
To
But
Jamar.
the key, Jimmy, is they were double teaming him, and they still couldn't cover him.
It's crazy. So, Tony, when we talk about that defense, man, because I think they had some laps, but at the end of the day, man, there were some big plays by the defense. Cam Britt-Taylor, after we were short on that 4th and 1 or 2 goal at the goal line, we don't make it, and we're pretty upset because you were right there in that end zone. You were right there in front of it, and then another play or two later, that interception, man. What a great play.
Yeah. So the defense, obviously, they still have some struggles there, but as we all saw, they helped us get in the game, and when we had the turnovers, we were able to score on them. And, it was really nice to see. We had, Trey getting in there, getting the pressure on the quarterback, making them make mistakes all the way around. It was a good effort by both sides of the ball. So I was happy with it.
Augie has a good point here. Obviously, you mentioned T. Higgins was out, but how about the game Trent Irwin had, stepping up and just, catching everything thrown his way? We saw glimpses of that last year where he was Tom?
There he is.
Oh, we lost you, Tom. But, kudos to him. We had the void there with T. Higgins out. Obviously, 5th-round pick Charlie Jones was out, and Trenton stepped up big time, caught everything thrown his way, and was great to see.
Yeah. Trent Irwin, that was his career high, I think, catches in yards. Jamar, geez, Pete's guys, they played a hell of a game on offense, man. Trying to think what else. Defensively, it was really cool to me. So you had Arizona State's right tackle was a rookie, Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State, playing against his, another Ohio State Buckeye and Sam Hubbard there. That was a kind of a fun battle to watch. Sam got the best of him, but I would expect Sam to get the best of him as a rookie at right tackle there. The defensive line with Trey Hendrickson, man, was questionable going to that game with the back issues, I think. Wound up having 2.5 sacks. He was all over the place. Even when we didn't have a sack, he was disruptive in that backfield for somebody who was questionable going to that game. So Trey Hendrickson had a hell of a day as well.
He did. We saw Jermaine Pratt get that interception at the end. There was a picture that somebody posted, had his arm wrapped, had some ice on it, leaving the locker room after the game. Hopefully he's okay. But, the one thing I want to go back and talk about is going forward on 4th down there. We didn't get it, but, I don't know. I guess we're all still a little bit shocked by the Marvin Lewis days because, Marvin Lewis never goes for that.
You would have kicked the field goal there.
Yeah, he definitely would have kicked the field goal. So kudos. Was it 3 straight runs, I think, which, you got to get. We didn't get it, but it worked out. But I'm just glad Zach went for it. Was aggressive there at the beginning. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. But I thought Mixon, had another solid game. That's going to be important, especially going down this stretch. And appreciate everything he's doing. As everybody knows, I was not fond of bringing him back, especially at the price tag we did, even after the pay cut. But man, he's been solid all year running the ball, and had another good game, and that's going to be important for us, especially once this weather turns bad and gets cold, and snow, rain, whatever we're going to have here in the second part of the season. So
yeah, Christopher brings up something here. James is pretty cool. I mean, not only Trey Henderson have 2.5 sacks, but I mean he sniffed out that screen pass. Yeah. Most defensive ends are going to go after that quarterback thinking they're going to get a sack. He kind of stepped back on that and literally had that ball in one hand, man. He could have pulled that in. If he did, that was a pick six. So Trey Henderson all over the place, man. He was awesome.
I think Logan Wilson had one that he kind of fumbled too. So definitely the defense was there, swatting the balls down, knocking them down, doing whatever. But that was good. I thought Brad Robbins had a good game punting. I don't know if he had jitters early on in the year, but it seems like he's settling in. When he had to put one inside the 10, he did that to perfection. So glad to see him kind of coming into form here as we're watching.
Don't forget the offensive line now. They get a little credit there too. Jonah, he had some praise from scoring, over 80% too on that. So, don't forget those guys. They, we always give them a lot of flack because Joe's back there running around or whatever. But I think they did a pretty good job this game as well.
Hey, Tom, was it Kappa who had basically allow no pressures at all? And I mean,
clean sheet in the passing game.
Yeah, the Pro Football Focus scores, man, had him if I'm not mistaken, the highest rated offensive line Sunday.
Against the pass rush, he was the number one offensive lineman in all of football last week. But again this week, top graded overall offensive lineman, Jonah Williams, 4th best right tackle in all of football. So, maybe he's found a home at right tackle. Maybe he can like it, and maybe at the end of the year he can decide he wants to stay for a long time. We'd love to have him playing like this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else to talk about that game, guys. I thought all in all, I mean, look, Arizona's not a Super Bowl team, guys, but I mean, we dominated that game. I mean, at the end of the day, you beat a team like that, you beat up on them, and we absolutely did that.
I think the other thing you talk about is Awuzie being out and the rookie Turner stepping up, playing another cornerback. Yeah, so I mean that's huge. We saw Cam Taylor-Britt do that last year when Awuzie went down, slid him over into his spot. Awuzie was out Sunday. 2nd round pick DJ Turner had another solid game. Would you agree, Tom?
Well, that's I think it's a tribute. Lou Anarumo speaks so openly about not wanting to play defensive backs, particularly corners, their rookie year. Last year, he was forced to at Halloween. Cam Taylor-Britt had to step in when Awuzie got hurt, and he played at a Pro Bowl level. This year, DJ Turner had a couple bumps in the preseason, as all cornerbacks, no matter who they are going to do. They're going to have bad moments. But DJ Turner, when he's been given the opportunity, it's been one of the highest graded corners in all of football, and he was again Sunday. So, like Jimmy said, though, it's good to point out, and it was pointed out by the local birdcage liner, but the Cardinals are not a Super Bowl team. They are very far from it. They're going to draft in the top 5 this year again. But what are you supposed to do against bad football teams? You're supposed to beat bad football teams. And, we did with a bit of comfort. It wasn't perfect. I think we're still improving. The arc's going up, and we want this win to mean something. You got to go out and beat the Sea Hags on Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, one other thing I'm going to touch on, and right, wrong, or indifferent, we saw Nick Scott slide from the starting position to the bench a little bit in that second half. Another rookie, Jordan Battles, we got in the 3rd round, played a lot more safety. Seemed to play good. Obviously, rookies in the backfield there are going to take their lumps, but the reps that Jordan Battle got there at safety seemed to do a solid job, kind of getting thrust into that spot.
He's stepped up nicely. It was tough. Von Bell grew to a point when he first came here. He was not all that good against the pass, but then his last several years, he destroyed a Bengal problem, a historic Bengal problem, and that is the tight end and the slot receiver open over the middle. And Von Bell did a tremendous job against that. There've been some problems this year, and we anticipated that with 2 new safeties. But man, I think Dax Hill is playing every bit as well as Jesse Bates ever did here. I think Dax Hill's a future Pro Bowler, and we'll see. There have been some tackling problems. Nick Scott, I don't think that was scheduled when you mentioned that, James. I know he sat out at least one full series and was being, I think, shuffled in and out on first and second down. On a couple others, he was in there on third down. But I think long term, that's probably Jordan Battle's position to lose long term.
And speaking of safety, we have one in the waiting room along with another former Bengal great. This is going to tie in nicely to what we have next Tuesday. We're also going to bring the film producer on for our big event next Tuesday at 16 Lots. So if you want to introduce our 2 former, actually Cam's in there too, our next 3 guests, Tom, that we're going to talk about next week's show.
Well, the first one is if you had an all-time Bengals team, he would be first team as a safety. David Fulcher defined that defense in the late 80s in the Super Bowl run and had an incredible couple of seasons going into the 90s. So he's been a great friend of the show and a great friend of the community. So we welcome safety David Fulcher.
Hey guys, if you guys can hear me, man, I apologize. I was at a conference out here in Dayton, and I'm driving down my car doing this, trying to make all the light in the world to see me. But if you can hear me, we're all good. I apologize again.
No, you're good. We can hear you, David. That's all we need. We don't need to see that face anyhow, man. We're good. We just hear you.
Okay, man. I'll take that all day.
Go ahead, Tom. Introduce Bob and Cam as well.
Our next guest, again, if the Bengals had an all-time first team, he would be the first team all-center. He was the very first draft pick of the Bengals. He knows all about RiverFront Stadium. He made the transition from Nippert to RiverFront in an era where the NFL had so many great centers. He was one of them. First-class gentleman, the Bengals' first captain, Bob Johnson.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, especially with David Fulcher, since I didn't mean anything, but my son played football and played college football in Indiana, and he thought David Fulcher hung the moon. He didn't care anything about his dad, but he wanted Fulcher jerseys and Fulcher this and Fulcher that. And I thought, Fulcher's a safety man. What the hey? Although, David, I don't want to make you mad because you played like a linebacker, and linebackers and centers are obvious enemies. But yeah, I want to be nice to you.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. Everybody thought I was a linebacker, but I played safety, and Dick LeBeau gave me a chance to take that position to a different level, and I had a great time doing it, and I really appreciate all the love that I got. So, hey, I was a linebacker body, but a safety in heart.
Well, the great thing about you is you had a linebacker body, but you could play safety. You could cover. So, and you got a lot of. You did have some man coverage, and it's tough. I tell you, my hat's off to any defensive back because they're really athletes. And offensive linemen, they got to be big and strong. But athletes, I tell you what, David, you'd love this. After every game on Tuesday, we had a touch football game with just the offensive linemen. I got to tell you, it was ugly. It was not good.
All right, Tom, you want to introduce our final guest here? It's a perfect segue, some of this banter that we have going back and forth.
Well, our special guest with our first 2 guests, we've got Bob Johnson, who really represents those first years at RiverFront Stadium, the years of the pumpkin helmets with Bengals on the side, and then David Fulcher, who really defines in the 80s and going into the 90s with the stripes on his helmet. But Cam Miller is he's just a great fan of Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. He's a historian. He's a big sports fan, and continuing his tradition on that, he has made a movie, RiverFront Remembered, the Jungle. So the Bengals years in RiverFront from 1970 to 1999. So we welcome again another big fan and friend of the show, Cam Miller.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Thanks for
Cam.
having me.
How you doing tonight, buddy?
I am fantastic. I just finished up a couple of pieces of music for the film, and I will wrap production probably tomorrow. So we are good to go.
I think it was last year when we first had you on. We showed the Riverfront and talked about the Riverfront segment that you did at the Red. So this has been 12 plus months in waiting till next Tuesday for this debut. And for those that don't know, I'm going to put a link to the tickets in the chat. Next Tuesday night, 16 Lots, Newport on the Levee. We are going to have the film debut, RiverFront Remembered. I just put that ticket link in the lobby there. 100% of the proceeds go to Revive. Jimmy can talk about that charity in a little bit, but 15 plus former Bengals are going to be there. We kind of saw the dialogue between Bob and David Fulcher there. And we're going to hear a whole lot more of that next week. Just a lot of stories from the players, their memories there at Riverfront. And I think we'll show that film first. And it's just going to be a lot of fun memories. Cam, what am I forgetting talking about what's going to happen next week?
I think you nailed it. I think it's going to be a great time. I think that, trying to pack a 30-minute film, 30 years of history into 30 minutes was tough, but it's something that I'm accustomed to doing work for the Reds Hall of Fame. You kind of have to put those things in the theater, and you have to have a certain amount of time. So I really tried to make it, to tell the story, to bookend it from 1970 all the way to 99, 30 years, actually 29 years, 2 months and 23 days. Not that I'm counting or anything, but it was a fun ride making this film. And I'm just so excited that I get a chance to put it together for a great charity, a great cause.
Yeah, I've talked to a handful of the players. I think Bob and David are going to be there next Tuesday night as well. But we have tons of their teammates hearing some of these guys' stories already. I won't share them live with you. I'll let them share them with you here next Tuesday night. Mike Martin has a very a tear-jerking story about Riverfront, his memories at Riverfront. But as you're watching this, we'll get ready to play a promo real quick before we have Bob and David talk about some of their memories at Riverfront. But as a fan, if you're watching right now, type in some comments or questions about your memories, your best memories, good or bad. It doesn't matter, of RiverFront Stadium. Put them in there. I have a bunch of good ones, but I have a few bad ones myself. We'll share those here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and play this promo here real quick, and then we'll get Bob and David. And don't forget to type in your memories and any questions you want to ask Bob or David, because David actually played in the very first game at RiverFront Stadium. We're going to ask him about that here in a minute. But here's the promo for you guys.
Back to throw, looks, fires into the end zone. Touchdown, Ike Curtis.
By Riley. He's over at the 25 to the 30-yard line, and Kenny Riley picked it out of the air.
Right side, Pete Johnson down to the 30, 25, 20, down to the 15, still on his feet, 5, touchdown. If you would, touchdown. I have never seen this kind of a victory dance before.
She wasn't built to be charming. She wasn't configured to fit inside a neighborhood like her predecessor, Crosley Field. RiverFront Stadium was designed to function. A multi-purpose machine, her concrete and steel body bolted down along the Ohio River, sharing the banks with warehouses, factories, skyscrapers. She had a job to do, and she did it well. And for those of us that were lucky enough to have our breath taken away by her majestic size, our eyes widened when we first saw her expansive green field as we made our way to find our plastic seats of blue, green, yellow, or red. We are forever grateful that she let us be a part of her lifespan. She is forever with us, and we will always have that stadium along the Ohio, RiverFront.
Cam, that gave me goosebumps, brother. That gave me a lot of goosebumps. Tom, go ahead and kick this off, man. Let's get this thing started.
I want to ask Bob, Bob, a couple quick questions. Coming from your first 2 years in the league, playing in your competition in the AFL, and you playing in Nippert, there was maybe one game a year when you went to the Astrodome, you played on AstroTurf. Then in this beautiful, brand new, state-of-the-art stadium, RiverFront Stadium, you came and played on painted concrete. Was that the first thing you noticed when you came onto the field?
Well, I also played at the University of Tennessee where everything was manicured. You weren't allowed on the game field until game day. And by the end of the season, Nippert was a disaster. I mean, it was all completely torn up. But, there was a charm about Nippert early on. It was the first year of the Bengals. With the public, we had a honeymoon that wouldn't quit. We only won 3 games that first year, and you'd have thought we were in the Super Bowl every year. I mean, fans went nuts. They came, and this is 1968. They came to the game in coats and ties. It just was a totally different atmosphere, and I think the city of Cincinnati was so happy to have the team. Nippert was a warm, wonderful place, and like I said, we get a first down, we get a standing ovation. I couldn't quite understand it. Like I said, coming from Tennessee, where at that point we were national champions one year, we were always really good. But then coming here and we were 3-11 that first year, and the fans still loved us. I couldn't quite get over that. It was great.
You know what, Tom? Before we ask David a question, I want to show. I have the first trailer that Cam did, which is kind of another teaser for next Tuesday. Let's go ahead and play that real quick. In case fans didn't see it about 2 months ago when we showed it. I'm going to show that real quick.
The Reds were thinking about leaving, as I remember, because there wasn't a stadium that was worthy, and yet the city had to have the second major league franchise in order to build the stadium. And that's where I came in.
Anderson is back to throw. Looks, fires down into the end zone. Touchdown to Christ up in the air. In it goes. And the Bengals win it in overtime on this ground at RiverFront Stadium. Really up, falling on his feet.
So cool pick. We saw Bob there and Kenny and a lot of other Bengals greats. But go ahead, Tom, and let's get David's thoughts here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, David, the one thing that defined your era with the team was that 1988 run to the Super Bowl. You heard Bob talk about, how much it meant to those guys in 68, 69, and 70 when the team was new, and how the city just wrapped their arms around them and loved them. What was it like I've always said nothing brings this city together like when the Bengals are winning. Nothing. There is nothing else close to it even. What was that 88 season like for you and the guys in the locker room as the stadium became known as the Jungle and the enthusiasm you brought?
You know, I'll tell you this here, man. We were so excited just to play for the fans. The fans gave us the momentum and the energy to go out and just play football and have fun. That 88 year, probably for me, obviously it was our Super Bowl year, but just a simple fact that we had a players coach in Sam Weiss. We had a quarterback that Sam Weiss loved to death, always calling him the blonde girlfriend or whatever he was calling Boomer. But we had a team that we felt that nobody could beat us. And our fans, I'm telling you, I found myself when I played in a game being able to talk to the fans and having them cheer us on was mind-boggling. We were so excited about what we were doing that we didn't pay attention to nothing else but having fun for that football fans. And I can tell you two things that electrified my career playing for Cincinnati. When we beat the Houston Oilers 61-7 in Cincinnati, when Jerry Glanville and Sam Weiss was going back and forth, and then the famous, you don't live in Cincinnati, I'm sorry, you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. I'm telling you, that quote still stands in my forehead after all these years because we played so much good football based off of what that man used to say, and we had a great time as Bengals in 1988-89.
That's funny. Hey, Bob, let me ask you this. So, man, you got to play the very first game at RiverFront Stadium, and tell us that when you walking out in the field, you got to play, and you're part of Cincinnati history to begin with, being the first draft pick, right? But man, you also got to play in that first game. Talk about that first game at RiverFront, that experience for you.
Well, it was just so different from Nippert. You know, all of a sudden the fans were a distance away. Although, you know, even there, the stands were closer to the bench than they are in a lot of places now. And the AstroTurf was so new and bristly. And really, AstroTurf has come a long way. Back then, you had such coefficient of friction between your shoes and the field. I mean, you could, I think a lot of people got hurt ankles, hurt knees because your shoes stuck so well. But that also made you feel like you could fly. I mean, you know, I was a big offensive lineman, and I was the fastest offensive lineman then. On the other hand, that's a low bar because offensive linemen are all that fast. But that AstroTurf just felt like you could fly. And I'm sure, you know, the Isaac Curtises and people like that really did like it.
Interesting. Tom?
Yeah, Bob, your first season, that 1970 season, you got your first win against one of the powers in the league, the Raiders. And then after some struggles, though, you guys went on a historic run, not unlike the team last year when they won 10 games in a row and shocked the NFL. For many, many years, you were the youngest team in history to win a division and go on to the playoffs. Tell us about that 1970 team when you'd lost Greg Cook. You brought in this backup quarterback from Chicago, Virgil Carter, and he and Sam White kind of quarterbacked you guys into the playoffs.
Yeah, to begin with, let me say one thing about Sam. You know, Sam and Jane, and my wife's name is Jane, were best of friends for years, even after we were both out of football. And it's, you know, his dying is just tragic, but what a great guy. I mean, he was a wonderful person, and you know, he was what you got. You guys know this. He just effervesced, and you know, he didn't know. He always said one sentence too much. I kept saying, Sam, just shut up after, you know, you say some great things, you get everybody all fired up, but then you should just shut up and let it lay. But I mean, what a wonderful person he was. Going to RiverFront was and it was an exciting thing. I mean, it was big time compared to Nippert. You know, I got to say, the 1970 season was really fun. We had probably a run that we didn't deserve, but I think people they probably underestimated what we were at the time. If you look back at the statistics those years, Paul Robinson had a zillion yards, and it was. I don't think people prepared for us very well, but it certainly. And I give Coach Brown, I give Paul Brown a lot of credit for that. We didn't have a good start in 1970, and he was steady. He stayed with it. I think he'd seen all this stuff before, and he said, just keep working, keep working. So practice was just keep working. It was no panic at all. I give Coach Brown a lot of credit for that.
Hey,
Cam, we know this has been a labor of love. As we mentioned, you did the Reds one first that you got to debut in their Hall of Fame and had a couple former players there. But I think this one's going to be unique in just the quantity of former Bengals players that are going to be there. We see the interaction between Bob and David here tonight, and we're going to see that tenfold next Tuesday night at 16 Lots. How much does this mean to you, again, knowing all the hours and time you've put into this and finally seeing this come to culmination?
Well, it's so fantastic because I do this not for, awards or recognition, but to put that out there. So that history needs to be out there so it can be passed on. The Bengal mania that we have now, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Paul Brown in 1965, right? Saying, I'll take a team, and then getting RiverFront built, and then look where we are today, a Major League City. But all of the work that I put into this, it's for the fans, and for not just the fans, but the players. I cannot wait to hear the stories. Because since we don't have a Hall of Fame yet, this is their time to shine and to reminisce and to talk amongst themselves about some memories. I hope that that's what this film does. It's just 30 minutes. It's a short film, but it tells you 70 to 99, right? And it gives you that time period in the team's history. And this is just the beginning, right? This is just like that first chapter. And then more players will start talking about it, and then more fans. And we kind of continue that ball rolling, because if there's one thing I'm passionate about, it's retelling history and setting the record straight and getting people to remember these things, because there's so many players that don't get the recognition they deserve, that were at these practices and these two-a-days and played on some lousy teams, and they're Bengals, forever a Bengal. And we should embrace them. And I can't wait to hear some of the stories on Tuesday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
David, you're fortunate. You were actually out in Arizona last week. You're down at the home tailgates, getting an opportunity to interact with fans and just see how much love there is for the former players, going all the way back to the beginning. What's one thing you're most looking forward to in watching this video on Tuesday night that Cam's put together?
I just the simple fact that old school football, that RiverFront Stadium, old school football, the AstroTurf that nobody wanted to play on. Just the simple fact of going out there playing football, didn't have the best facility, but we had a great mind of people, great minded coaches, great attitude with players. And that's what made RiverFront what it was. And, I really hate to see it go, but they've upgraded so much to the point where RiverFront doesn't exist. But it still exists, because without RiverFront, they wouldn't have what they got today. So I'm excited to watch this, man. I'm excited to be a part of it. And it's Who Day all day, every day, my friend.
Cam, what's a question you want to ask one of these guys?
Well, I think they've hit the AstroTurf question nailed it on the head there, especially with Bob. I mean, I kind of want to bring some turf down to 16 Lots and see if he can maybe run a 440, see how that goes. Maybe to get some touch football going on. But I'm just happy to see that everybody's going to be there. Like, the list of players grows and grows. And that, to me, is what makes this so spectacular. They are going to be together to be able to reminisce about a place that a lot of people called a dump, right? It was not aesthetically pleasing. It wasn't, very well liked by a lot of players and a lot of fans. But how many NFL cities can say that, number one, they have a saying that's Who Day? There's not many teams that can have a chant. And number two, the Jungle. How many teams can say that they have a nickname? I mean, you have the Dog Pound, which is a section in Cleveland. You had the House of Pain in Houston, which was, lasted a couple of years. But to this day, we have a ruler of the jungle, right? So I don't think we should take that for granted. I think that having these players interact with other fans and kind of getting to reminisce about things is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm just so honored to be a part of it.
No doubt. No doubt at all.
Hey, can I ask David, have you been a ruler of the jungle? Do they haul you up on that stage?
So the Buffalo Bill Bengal game Monday night when Hamlin got hurt, the SWAT team was the ruler of the jungle.
Well, you know
And
what?
we
I was
had
the
that-
very first
we
one
had
that I didn't know
Stadium
what I
Rocket.
was supposed to do. They stuck me up there and said, just dance around and get the crowd excited. And I said, offensive centers can't dance, man. It was ugly.
Well, they can only ask those skilled athletes to do the dancing. You had a hard job, my brother. You had a hard job to do. There wasn't no dancing in your job.
Yeah, well, everybody that's ever seen me dance is going to agree with you.
Well, gentlemen, we appreciate your time. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg that you're going to see next Tuesday night. So thank you to Cam for being so gracious to let us be part of this debut. You know, he's always been generous with his time, and to be able to do this. And Jimmy's done a lot of legwork here, getting the former Bengals together. And David and Bob, you still have another week. Let's get 30 former players down there, and we'll have a fun night.
Let's do it.
That'll be fun.
James, before they go, one quick thing, and I know Jimmy and I have talked about this too. There's so much brought about and so much joy, and I think we can give credit to the Blackburn granddaughters, Elizabeth and Caroline, for the Ring of Honor. Our guests tonight, their names are going up on that wall. Maybe they should be now, especially Bob. Bob is the only Bengal to ever have his number retired. And
Bob should have been the first one up there, my friend. Should have been the first one up there.
But, it seems like so many of the guys that Paul Brown brought in were not only great players, and we had a number of great players, their careers shortened by injury, Greg Cook, Mike Reed, but they were class individuals, and that's what we've got here. And Bob Johnson, David Fulcher, after they retired, made their homes here, very involved with the community. So they're a big credit to this team and sports legends in this town. So one day their names are going to be up there, one day soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
So next week, everybody that's watching right now, I don't know the number of tickets pre-sold, but it's only $10 a ticket to get in. 100% of those proceeds go to Revive Family Foundation right here in Cincinnati, a local, another local charity we're bringing to the table. 6 to 9 o'clock, 16 lot in Newport on the Levee. It overlooks the entire city. It's a beautiful spot. We can fit up to 450 people in there if we need to. I'm not worried about the space. We're going to have some great space. We're going to have a lot of good times. The film itself is going to film a Cam. Did we say 7:30? I think is what we said.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
You're going to introduce the film, 30 minutes. Players are going to be interacting, talking about this. We're going to put them up on stage and talk about their memories. And I'm sure they'll interact with you as a fan while you're there. So come out, enjoy some true Cincinnati football history. I had my first memory there when I was 13 years old. The Bengals played the New York Jets in a preseason game. My dad took me to the first game. We sat up underneath the scoreboard. I could barely see, but I'll never forget that. That was a memory of mine. And I was a vendor at RiverFront Stadium for a couple years. I only wanted to go see the Reds and Bengals play, so I got to be a vendor when I was 16 years old, selling peanuts and popcorn and pop. And I would sell the first half of the games and Bengal games, and I would just walk around, watch the games just so I could get in there. But everybody's got a bunch of great stories. I got a feeling it's not just the players that are going to be sharing their stories. I think you, as fans, are going to have a lot of good stories to share with everybody there as well. So, Bob and Dave, we look forward to seeing you guys there. And Cam, we appreciate you, man. We love everything you do, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Everybody.
You're the best.
See you next week.
David, thank you, guys.
Yep.
Who day, buddy? Dan Fulcher's all over the place, guys. He was in Arizona with us tailgating. He was at the Arizona State Colorado game. That guy's been all over the place. Just at an event up in Dayton. That dude is all over the place, man. So,
well, Cam, we appreciate it. Keep spreading the word. So looking forward to next Tuesday night. And I'm not going to be there, so you run with this thing. Hit a home run. I want to watch the video of it, and
it is only appropriate. We're doing this in Northern Kentucky, premiering the king of Northern Kentucky's movie right on the banks of the Ohio River.
Yeah, we appreciate it, buddy. I'm sure we'll talk before Tuesday, but we'll see you next Tuesday again. We appreciate it, man.
Sounds good. Take care, guys. I appreciate it.
Right. Dude, I'm really looking forward to that, man. As those guys were talking, I'm sitting there. First of all, that intro, that promo, man, I literally had goosebumps watching that. But man, I'll tell you, I won't get into all my memories, but my two main was like my first game ever in '83, a preseason game against the Jets, and then me literally getting a vendor's job with Airmark, selling peanuts, popcorn, whatever I could. And I would, for the Bengals games, I'd work the first half, make $50-$60, and the whole second half I would just walk around, act like I was working. I'd watch the game. So, man, it's just my oldest kid, Ryan, his first game. He was real small. He was probably 3 years old when I took him to his first game in '95, about '95 there. So, man, so many damn memories there. I'm gonna be coming up with a bunch more stuff to talk about next Tuesday.
So much fun. Again, it's just $10 a ticket, or you can reserve a table too. So if you have a group or your business or whatever wants to come down, you can reserve a table up front. We'll have an exact outline of what's going to happen next Tuesday. There'll be kind of like a happy hour where you can mingle. We will then show the film, and then depending on the amount of players, we'll probably bring them up on stage, ask questions, allow the fans to ask questions. But we'll have all that outlined next week, and we appreciate Dell and the folks at 16 Lots for hosting that. And now, Tony, now is your time to shine here. Another fundraiser in the desert this past week for Parkinson's, if I'm not mistaken, where that was our charity. And so many people came up that, again, new people that have never been to a Bengal gym tailgate. And, any proceeds that are made from these go to charity. And we had the opportunity to do the raffle on Sunday with a jersey. And if I'm not mistaken, the winner was from New York. Tony, you want to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah. So again, Houday Nation, Bengal Nation showed up to help support us, not only at the tailgate, but also with the charity. It was kind of funny. Carrie, she went on her own, was selling tickets while we were trying to get the people inside the door. She sold them for about 2 hours, and we were getting closer, and we went up, made an announcement, and we had a line of people and sold it out in 30 minutes. So she was like, why didn't we do this earlier? So it was really good just to see everybody supporting us. We raised $2,100 for the Parkinson Support and Wellness organization here in Cincinnati. We also had our good friend, John Strouser, get up and say a few words, about the organization and about what he was been going through. So all in all, it was a great time for the charity. And not only in Arizona did we support that, but as promised, we took a little walk as well in Arizona to continue our efforts for the walk to end Alzheimer's. And we did that in Arizona since we weren't here in Cincinnati to participate. So we had a lot of fun with that as well, walking down the street. People were kind of looking at us a little funny, but we knew why we were there, and it was fun to do that for.
Hey, Tony, a couple of us in that group as we're walking had these orange flowers representing Alzheimer's, right? They were getting a lot of funny looks, but we didn't care.
That's right. We were having fun with it, and wanted to make sure to show our support, even though we weren't there. And talking about that, this upcoming tailgate, the charity raffle is also for Alzheimer's Association. We'll have some volunteers there to help do that as well. But to your point, James, we're at $79,000, almost $80,000 already this year, and it's only the 5th week. So I have no words, man. I can't explain what I feel, and I know what everyone on the screen feels, what we've accomplished here and what Houday Nation has really done to help us support our charity efforts. It's just amazing. I can't speak enough about it. So
you'll see
Alzheimer's donations come in. I think I texted you on the other day. People are still donating, and as we said, just under 80,000 already 5 weeks into the season. So we're well on our way. And again, that's because of the generosity of all the Bengals fans, whether home or away. Been great online. We appreciate everybody for taking part. We've got some other stuff up here, Tony, that we want to get to before the 2-minute warning buzzes. So I'm going to pop these up and let you talk about them real quick.
Yeah. So Tony's Tickets for Kids, phenomenal thing that we started a couple years ago with some donated tickets, and it's grown to be something that we do every week, just about. So we take some tickets, and what's great about this is we're giving a great experience to those future fans, to the kids who's never been to a game, and to be able to do this and help facilitate this is awesome. I'm a big component about our future fans and being a fan of fans, and us old guys here on the screen ain't going to be here forever to support our teams. So we got to make sure we prime that new generation to take over for us. And I think we're doing the right things here by getting these kids to their first game. And I just love this. So we have two ladies, two sisters, Sophie and Sam, that are going, as well as a young man, Hudson, who will also be joining us. They'll be pre-gaming with us at the tailgate and being able to go to the game and enjoy that time. So it's a great thing.
And speaking of that, before I show this video, I think that's a perfect segue. Jimmy, do you want to talk about the renaming or branding of the tailgate for this week?
Yeah. So guys, if you've seen our social media channels, we have rebranded everything for this week. We have a young kid here named Gavin, who, if you've seen the articles, his brain cancer is terminal, guys. And the one thing that gives him joy, man, is being around Cincinnati Bengals, watching the games, going to games, whatever he can be part of, anything with the Bengals. I think some of the Bengal players actually went and seen him in the hospital here not that long ago. So this week, it's no longer Bengal Jim and Friends before the Royal Tailgate Experience. It is Gavin. Welcome to Bengal Gavin's Before the Royal Tailgate Experience this year. We've got a new banner that we're putting up, our headers, everything that you see on our social media platform. And him and his family are going to be down at the tailgate this week. We're going to try to make it the most fun experience he's had around the Bengals. We have a professional pumpkin carver who was on Halloween Wars, Tater Edwards, who will be down there carving up pumpkins. He's got a very special pumpkin he's going to be carving for Gavin as well. So there's going to be some more things that we're going to do Sunday, but we're working through some of the details on that. But it's just this charity stuff, guys. Everything that we do as a group, work very hard on this. All of us put a lot of time into this. What Gavin is dealing with, guys, I just hope everybody can make it down there. We don't know how long he's going to be able to stay down there. He's in a wheelchair, I think. So it's just come down this week, enjoy friends and family, and let's make this experience for Gavin the best that we possibly can. I'm really looking forward to seeing Gavin, and it's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful tailgate prior to going into the game.
Yeah, and I don't even know where the idea came from to rename it, but so cool. Appreciate everyone involved to make that happen, and just a lot of fun, as you said. Come down, have fun. Again, I think we take it for granted, going to the home games, going to the away games, whatever you do as a Bengal fan, simply watching them, and we've got somebody that fighting a terminal illness, and this may be one of the last opportunities he has to have a lot of fun. So come on down and enjoy the pregame festivities with us, and we look forward to making a special day for Gavin. One other slide up here, Tony. Looks like you and Jimmy are going to be doing something.
Yeah, so Starshine Hospice is a organization with Children's Hospital. It's an event this Saturday from 9 to 1. Me and Jimmy will be there to help support this group. We're doing a duck race with them for November. We're going to pre-sell those duck races. So just a time to get together before it gets too cold out there. They got a car show and all kinds of good things, raffle packages. Just another effort and charity event to help those kids that are dealing with these illnesses that the hospice provides these services for them and their families. So come out and see us, and spend some time with us, have some fun, buy some raffle tickets, and help support the charity.
Yeah, hey, James, before we
hold on one second, I got this video.
My bad. Before we get into that 2-minute warning, James, I want to hit one more thing before we hit that 2-minute warning.
I didn't realize that was a 2-minute warning. Well, pause that. We put some time back on the clock. We are 2 minutes and 13 seconds left in the
added time back on the clock. I failed to mention earlier, and I probably needed to do this earlier in the show. I don't know if everybody was aware, but Glenn Bujnak, who played for the Cincinnati Bengals in the 70s, even in the early 80s, played on the Bengals Super Bowl team, married a Bengal cheerleader, Sue. Good friends of mine, customers of mine. Glenn passed away this past week and a half ago. And I just want to say rest in peace, Glenn. Glenn was an awesome, awesome man. So Glenn will be missed. We prayers and everything for the family there. And I think services are this Sunday evening. But I just wanted to mention something about Glenn. unexpected situation there with Glenn. But we just want the family to know that he's in our prayers, and we love you guys, and rest in peace, Glenn Bushnell.
And I think a lot of fans may not remember him from his playing days, but he's been around at some of our events. Maybe, I don't know if it was the Super Bowl or Jungle to the Hall, but I remember seeing Glenn, having the opportunity to meet him. Super, super nice guy. So,
the last thing I'll say, man, it was just like knowing the family, his kids and his wife. And one thing that really kind of hit home, like this show, we do it for fun. We're just a bunch of fans doing this, like James always says, by the fans, for the fans. And we just got to step back every now and then. When it really hit me hard, because Sue and the family sat and watched our episode that when we had Glenn on the show, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, the family texted me and said they watched that episode with Glenn. That's just, this show is fun, but at the end of the day, man, this means a lot to a lot of different people. For them to sit there and watch that show, to be able to see their loved one who had just passed and watch that episode meant a lot, man. It just, we're doing some little things here, helping some people through some tough times.
100%. And speaking of that, we're going to play the 2-minute warning here. Tony, do you want to do the intro on who this is that's doing it?
Yeah, real quick. So this is Noah. I had the privilege of sitting with him at the Arizona game. It was his first NFL game, and as you guys know, that's one of the special things I love to be a part of. And it was actually one of our PFUFA members' nephew. They made a big deal about it, so I had the privilege of sitting with him during the game, and I had him do a little 2-minute warning for us.
Hooday!
Play it again from the beginning. Sorry.
Let's see here. See what happens when the Canadian's not here.
This is the 2-minute warning.
Hooday!
Yes, that's awesome. Hey, so Tony, tell everybody, Mom and Dad are what fans?
It's funny. So I was teasing everybody around us because the dad is a Pittsburgh fan and the mom is a Patriots fan. So I was asking, hey, what do you guys get when you get a Pittsburgh and a Patriot together? And they're like, oh, chaos, whatever. And I said, no, you get a Bengals fan. So everybody was loving it. It was great. So don't know why he became a Bengals fan. He lives in Arizona. You got Cardinal fans and Patriots and Pittsburgh all in the family. And so I just kept on telling him he picked the right team. So he's good in our books.
So can you imagine your first game and you get to sit next to Tony the Tiger the whole game? I'm sure that kid had a smile on his face the whole game as we kept looking over and seeing. It was fun.
Now you say that, but for me, I was in awe of him. To be able to have that moment with him was pretty cool. I really appreciated it.
Well, keep rolling, Tony. Anything else you want to say as your 22 seconds are ticking away?
So, yeah, I appreciate everyone again for coming out and seeing us at the tailgate. Big win this week. It was a must win. I think we saw Joey do a lot of good things. A lot of questions that we had about what he could do and what he couldn't do. We saw him scramble. We saw him run for a little bit. And then we saw that long pass that we all been waiting for all year. So glad to see that he is feeling comfortable with himself. And I hope that we get to continue to see that for the weeks to come. Appreciate you guys. Let's keep it going. Hooday.
Tom?
A big win will only mean something with another big win this week. Protect Joe Burrow, tackle the Seahawks, prevent the big play, win the turnover battle, and we go 3-3 in the bye, and hopefully we're off to the races. Thank you again to Cam, Bob Johnson, David Fulcher, and we will look to see everybody. There'll be a lot of stuff on social media this week about our event at 16 Lots and Cam Miller's film. So a big week. And we have 55 seconds. James is looking at the clock. James.
Appreciate it, Tom. It's, we joked around. Craig and I, for those that don't know, drove to New York the week before leading up to the Cleveland game. We kind of went through the schedule. At Cleveland, home. Then where'd we go after the Ravens? Where'd we go to? Did we go to Nashville? Was that next? Nashville, Arizona. We went to what did I miss after the Ravens game?
You missed
home against the Rams.
The Rams.
A Monday night game against the Rams.
Then
we went to Nashville. Then we went to Arizona. Now we got this. We joked around. It's a 7-week gauntlet us as fans need a little break with all the away tailgates and everything as much as these players do. So I think the bye's coming at the right time. Excited for what Joe did on Sunday. I think we with the scrambling and escaping the pressure. Glad to see. Thank you so much for everybody that tailgates with us, whether it's at home or on the road. Seeing so many new faces, just seeing how excited they are to hang out makes all the work worthwhile, because there's a lot of legwork that goes into both the home and away tailgate. So we appreciate everyone for being part of that. Craig's not on here now. Craig's another big part behind the scenes of making everything happen. So we appreciate that. Look forward to seeing everybody Sunday at Paycor Stadium and that film. I'm mad that I'm going to miss next Tuesday night. I'm going to be actually out of the country, but it's going to be a special night. I think Cam's done so much work for that film release. If you can make it down, be there. Just the interaction between the Bengals, a great opportunity to meet so many former Bengals next Tuesday night. So make it down there if you can. Tom, you're getting ready to say something. Well,
James, you're the only guy I know that takes a rest from traveling by traveling.
No, I'm taking a rest from tailgating. My liver needs a rest for 7 weeks of tailgating, so that's what I'm going to do. But Jimmy,
yeah, I'm going to just tie in real quick to tailgating. I don't think there's ever been in the history of the Cincinnati Bengals. This is what I'm most proud of about this tailgate. The road tailgates that we have been doing, guys. You guys have been killing it. I mean, it was so fun to interact with everybody. When we weren't working at the event Saturday or Sunday at the tailgate. Like James said earlier, there's so many people that don't get a chance to get to Cincinnati to watch a game. Man, that was their opportunity, the excitement and the energy they had. There's a video I posted on, I think, Twitter and Instagram. I just walked through the crowd, and the energy, you could feel it through that video, man. It was just so fun, and thanks for being part of it. People were just having a great time. The charity that we did, Tony and Karen, we as a group worked so hard on that. That was fun. Look forward to seeing everybody down there Sunday. Remember, it's no longer Bengal Jim and Friends. It is Bengal Gavin and Friends tailgate experience this Sunday. Come down and join us. Let's make it the best experience we can for Gavin. Again, I think in Fulcher and Bob Johnson and Cam Miller, we appreciate you guys. Look forward to next Tuesday. We're going to have a blast down there, 6 to 9 o'clock. You can get there any early as you want. The film doesn't start until 7:30, but there'll be a lot of interaction with the players, a lot of storytelling. It's going to be a lot of fun. And guys, if we keep improving every week, I fully expect us to go 3-3 into the bye, going into San Francisco against probably an undefeated San Francisco team. That's what I'm looking forward to. Let's get that dub this Sunday. Get down there, get loud. Let's help the team out, just like we did on that Monday night game, that whiteout, and make a difference in that game. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Good day, everybody.
Good day.